For more insight into how AI can be used for good, joining us now is Ray Wang. He's the principal analyst, founder, and chairman of Silicon Valley-based Constellation Research. Welcome back to the program, Ray. Great to see you. This year's AI for Good Summit in Switzerland is focusing on the real-world applications of AI and trying to align them with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We've got this constant drumbeat of bad geopolitical news, global trade tensions, all of that. But I have to ask you, is this still an exciting time for the advancement of global equality when it comes to AI?
It's not only an important time, it is a very, very necessary item in terms of what we're doing with AI. When we think about AI, we're putting the hands and the capabilities of millions, billions of people in the hands of very few people. And if you don't have any controls in place, if you don't have equal access, if you don't have the ability to catch up, if you don't have the funding for all these different areas, like just in the last segment about languages, countries are going to fall behind. So especially in Africa, the ability to get it in Swahili or to get into any of the Niger languages, that's going to be a very important piece. And so we're going to see two forces at work. One is private sector playing the investments, putting it into place for commercial reasons, and governments that are trying to preserve culture, that are trying to actually deliver economic development, and also ensure that their citizens are not left out of the AI revolution.
So talk about those tensions. How do they navigate that?
Yeah, it's going to be important. I think governments are going to have to determine how much privacy, how much autonomy and agency each individual will have versus what's going to happen at the country level or at the corporate level. So, for example, in the US, one of the interesting things we could do is we could make our medical data and privacy data a property right. And if we were to do something like that in the US, that would mean that those records, the medical records, anything used for pharmaceutical testing, that would belong to the individual. So when we were to do any kind of research in the future, you would actually pay, pharmaceutical companies would be paying potential patients and research subjects money to be able to get their longitudinal records, or you can choose to donate your records for charity, for example, to the Cancer Society or to any other kind of nonprofit. And so by bringing that agency and bringing that data back to the individual, that actually ensures some of the digital rights that they're asking for, especially SDGs and ITU, especially in the conference, especially for the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah, you were talking about SDGs. You're also talking about medical. One of the SDGs, obviously, healthcare. There's a lot of talk about this urban-rural divide and the sense that AI, diagnostic tools, telemedicine platforms, all of these things could actually bridge this divide. How do you see it?
It's definitely one area to bridge divide, and one of the best areas is in medical research. The data and the digital data that's available for medical research is so valuable, and as a collective, it's very important, right? As an individual, you have very little negotiation power or little leverage, but as a collective, you can actually create these opportunities. And so we think the emergence of data collectives are going to be there to create, to actually take those trends, take that research, advance medical knowledge, and also benefit not only the patients, not only research, not only medicine, but in terms of society for good. And that's really some of those tenets behind this AI for good capability.
And also the sense that the same applies to AI in education. AI, of course, can provide adaptive learning tailored to individual students in areas where you don't have that many teachers. Can it be a difference maker?
I think it's going to be a difference maker. You're going to have opportunities to learn things and learn at a speed you couldn't before. We saw that with distance learning. We saw that with MOOCs, the ability to actually allow people to actually learn courses across different boundaries. You don't necessarily have to go to college to learn a skill. You can build skills databases over time. I think that's important. I think there's other areas where providing tools to make sure that deep fakes don't occur. The ability to authoritate who is actually someone that's actually speaking to you or what content comes from, that's also going to be needed. And that's going to have to happen at the government level to make sure that scams and cybersecurity and ransomware is fought back at scale.
And what about AI predicting extreme weather? I mean, we've seen what's going on in Texas. We're seeing, these disasters everywhere. That's obviously going to be very important.
That's the holy grail. So I think what's going to happen is quantum computing and AI will come together to do that, because in quantum models, we can actually model the chaos of weather patterns. And then with AI, we can apply reasoning engines and decision making to create the decision automation to then create the alerts that might say, hey, we might want to evacuate an area for a flood or for a fire or, for example, for a tsunami.
Ray, getting back, I mean, we talk a lot about income inequality. I kind of think about AI inequality because, you touched on education. I've talked to education secretaries in other parts of the world where they're like, we don't have computers. I mean, we have trouble getting electricity to these places. there are so many hurdles in some parts of the world to even getting online, and then you've got AI. I just kind of feel about the disadvantages. They're still out there, aren't they?
There's going to be a major AI gap and a division in AI. I mean, just getting on devices have been a tough battle. But think about the advancements that are there when we think about satellite communications, such as what's happening, with Starlink, or when you think about not having to bury lines anymore. When we went to mobile for Africa, countries were able to leapfrog legacy technologies. I think we'll see that on the AI side. If you think about a phone like this, it has 3 billion parameters. You can do AI at decentralized levels. You can have AI in the pocket of your hand. So I think you're going to see it at the small level, and then you'll see super intelligence, which is what countries are spending hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe even trillions by the time we're done, to be able to create that super intelligence. So that's really the gap that's there. But I think AI, in terms of helping you make your life easier, automate a task, identify a pricing opportunity, help you actually, prevent a disease, prevent some kind of risk or mitigate a risk. I think those things are all available, and that will get better with connectivity and, of course, with sovereign AI.